better career accomplishments, LeBron or Tom Brady?
Tom Brady. Tom Brady. I think that we should appreciate Tom Brady more.
In order for you to be that successful and that great and to win that much, the one constant is Tom.
Dan, I'm going to explain why. Number one, 10 Super Bowls is incredible. But the thing that's crazy, why I put football accomplishment ahead of basketball accomplishments is, every game in the NFL is a one game, you out and you're done.
Yeah, good point.
If you got Kareem, Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, Kobe, LeBron, Michael, you got the best player in every game. You can lose one game, you can lose two games, you can actually lose three games. But to have every game be a game seven, every game in the NFL is a game seven.
Yeah.
No matter how great your regular season was, to have every game be the end of your season, and for this man to make it to 10 Super Bowls and win 7, it's one of the greatest accomplishments in history. I mean, playing against Michael, and like I said, I never played really against LeBron, but you got the best player, and you can, like I said, you can lose a bunch of games. But to have every game be a game 7, I think what Tom Brady accomplished is arguably his career is unparalleled.
As soon as you get Tom Brady in your building, everybody gets better. The reps that maybe were cheated on the defensive side, maybe post-practice, if you have a bum-ass quarterback, it's just every single thing that everybody in that building does is amplified because they know they got a guy. Okay, so Tom Brady makes the equipment managers better. Tom Brady makes the athletic trainers better. Tom Brady makes the 4th-string defensive lineman better because that 4th-string defensive lineman knows we got a real chance of winning the Super Bowl at this point. Getting Tom Brady in your building was something I thought that was much bigger than just him on the football field. It's the accountability for fucking everybody. If you can get a great into your building, it oozes into everybody else in every other department. That has obviously happened in Tampa. A lot of people saying the defense won that game for them. Well, it just so happens to be coincidence after coincidence after coincidence after coincidence after coincidence. And at some point, the biggest mathematist has to say, what's the fucking X factor? You drop Tom Brady in a building, they win. Does it make sense? Not at all. But all he's going to do is just keep on winning. Now the question is, will Patrick Mahomes ever catch Tom Brady in Super Bowl appearances?
I think about it. As great as Pat Mahomes is, think about that. As great as Pat Mahomes is, if he wins this Super Bowl, he's only got 2. He's only got 2, Dan. Think about that. And I love Pat, even though I'm going with my Eagles, and I love Travis Kelce. If they win, that he will only have 2. He got to get another handful.
Have you hung out with Brady at all?
I have, and he is the most humble, cool GOAT I've ever been around.
But what do you talk about?
Actually, I don't think we talk about sports. He's just, I tell people, and you can just tell, Dan, like when I heard Teddy Bruschi, and actually, we had Von Miller on me and Ernie's podcast yesterday, and we talked about Tom, and he says, man, the craziest thing about Tom, I didn't want to like him when I met him, but he was so cool and humble. I was like, and this is Von Miller, one of the all-time greats, saying, yeah, man, Tom was talking to me like I was just like some guy he had just met on the street and he was kind. and that's the way when I've been around Tom, he's like, hey, Chuck, how you doing? Good to see you. And I'm saying to myself, does this dude know he Tom Brady? That's but man.
But there are guys who are like that, Chuck. Jordan was the same guy off the floor as he was on the floor. Guys turn it on and turn it off. And you've seen greatness that they're able to do that. Some guys can't turn it on or off. Brady is very mild-mannered.
I've only met 2 GOATs who are like that. That's Tom and Wayne Gretzky. Those are the two GOATs who, like, they're really – now listen, I love Michael and Tiger, but nobody's ever said, oh, man, they really nice guys. Nobody has ever said, oh, man. They said that Michael Jordan is the greatest player ever. They said, man, that Tiger Woods the greatest golfer ever. But words ain't never been said. Oh, man, they're some nice guys.
They're really humble guys.
Yeah. But when you're around Tom, and like I say, Tom and Wayne are the two GOATs that I'm like, oh, yo, man, those dudes are really nice guys. And listen, like Michael and Tiger, they just did it differently. But they're both two, in my opinion, they're the two GOATs of their sports. But I ain't never heard somebody say, man, that Michael and Tiger are nice guys. Those are words never been spoken.
To be great for that prolonged a period of time through, if we went through, and I've done this exercise before it became absurd, where he was in his 40s. The number of offensive linemen he played with in New England, the number of running backs, the number of tight ends, the number of wide receivers, the iterations of coaching staffs, with the exception of Bill, and there were some kind of constants there. But for him to, and from a style standpoint, we had his first Super Bowl was the Super Bowl after 9/11. And we had it down in New Orleans, and it was a game that, if you looked at every game film you could possibly watch, you couldn't make a case for New England to win that football game. And Terry Bradshaw and his Forrest Gump kind of, brilliance made the statement that, in a year like this, with all this country's been through, how can't you pick a team called the Patriots? And I remember it stands out to me in the halftime show with Bono and the whole thing, and Tom's first kind of stroke of masterpiece, taking the drive down at the end of the game, asked to do different things as he was throughout the course of his career. The funny thing was, typically when you get older, you're asked to do less and you manage the game, and that certainly hasn't been the case with him. I think the thing, to me, like a lot of players, and particularly a player that played as long as Tom and had won as much as Tom, and the reason why it will not be duplicated, were there people who threw the ball better? Yes. Better athletes? Yes. Check. We all saw the combine footage. What made Tom special was his will, his heart, and his head. And that's what made Peyton special. And, Tom was able to wring every drop of football out of that mind and that body, that heart, that he could. And, we wish these guys could play forever. And I think this is about as close to forever as you're going to get out of a quarterback in the NFL. It will never be duplicated.
I agree. And again, the thing I keep pointing out here, Howie, and I'm so appreciative of you pointing out the origin, how it did begin on such a national stage with the whole country, with hearts and throats, watching a football game in that stadium just a few months after the attacks of 9/11, and wondering whether this country could ever hold such a big event, a target. There's no other way to put it. And then the fact that he performed the way that he did, and then the legend was born. But what he's done as a 40-year-old, that's insane, man. I mean, the numbers are insane. Ken Stabler's numbers of his career, I was pointing out, and they're going to share a bust room with him and you, together forevermore. His passing yards and career passing touchdowns as a 40-year-old are akin to Stabler's career. I mean, come on. This is insane.